Camera's over there. Kevin's over there.
It's right there.
You're right there. We're back.
Right there.
It's Saturday.
Yes.
September 23rd.
23rd.
We're looking around angles. We're back for another Mason Missed It.
Yes.
Believe it or not, it's been years since we've done the last
It feels
one.
like it. It's been a while.
Since Godfather 2, we had to...
Godfather 1.
1.
We were going to do 2.
We're going to do 2. Don't have the time.
We're going to do 2. But I remembered, because I've been waiting for years. I've been reading every little article and piece, actual years, about Blade Runner 2049, which is coming out on October 6th. And suddenly I was like, holy shit, we are at the end of September already.
End of September.
And I would love to do a thing like we did with Dunkirk.
Yeah.
You, me, and Kevin go see... I want to go see it day one if we can.
Absolutely.
And go see it, and then do a reactions like we did.
That'd be awesome.
Kind of, make it sort of a sequel to this.
Yep. And what we're alluding to is that I've never seen the original.
Right.
And that's what we're going to do. We're gonna go check it out. Well,
Yep.
you've checked it out already.
Yes. It's one of my favorite movies. I would say... If I built a top 10, I'm thinking it would probably be near the end of it, like 8 through 10.
Okay. But it's on the top 10.
Well, yeah, so it definitely is. And, it's a weird movie in the sense that... So Kevin, a while back, he went and found a list of the top 100 movies of all time, on a few different websites.
Okay.
Because he was just, really into movies. He was feeling, he wanted to pick up some new things he hadn't seen. Basically doing what we do, just on his own time.
Right.
And one of those movies right in there, I think it's in the 40s or 50s, is Blade Runner, the top 100 movies of all time. And so he's like, hey, I had it, and I told him, wait, we should definitely watch it. And I told him what I'm going to tell you before we watch this. Because I think there's a thing that the people don't like this movie. I saw it when I was 15, and I fucking hated it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's called Blade Runner, and it has Harrison Ford on the front with a pistol.
Yeah.
And people get an idea that it's this action-packed science fiction Hollywood rumbler.
Okay.
And it's not.
Not that.
This movie is slow.
Okay.
Even to the point where it can be a little boring sometimes.
Okay.
Seriously. And I still love it to death, but I like to prime you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with noir as a genre?
No.
N-O-I-R?
Oh, N-O-I-R. Isn't it I always imagine a guy with a hat on and a coat, and he's walking through the rain.
And it's in New York City in the 70s or 60s maybe.
Yeah.
And it's black and white, and
maybe
the saxophone.
Earlier. Exactly. A lot of jazz.
And he's like, I was here on the night.
Smokes a cigarette. Fucking
right.
Fucking,
and then there was a terrible murder or whatever. Right?
A lot of jazz, a murder mystery kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine.
Very kind of just that feel of that. So it's that style. In a lot of ways. It's a noir film, but it also was the first movie or anything, it was the first media to give visual birth to the genre cyberpunk, which was created in books. Mm-hmm. It was kind of a small thing. Ridley Scott got a hold of it, and he created this, and it's crazy, man. This movie is on the top 100 list because it's one of the most visually stunning movies, ever.
Really?
Yeah, it's the lights and just the way everything looks, and it just it has so much atmosphere that it's just watching it just the way everything about that part of the movie, the actual aesthetic of the movie, is super original. You're going to notice so many things that you've seen in science fiction movies that have been ripped right out of Blade Runner.
Similar to Alien.
Very similar to Alien, yeah. And this is sort of the other side of that. It's more based on the story. It's more about the character. Mm-hmm. It's very... it reminds me of Westworld in the sense of it asks similar questions what it is to be human, and sometimes the humans are less human than the fake humans, and how do you tell anymore? What does it even mean? What does it matter? It's very philosophical, but I just like to let people know this is not a rolling, exciting film.
It's not Indiana Jones.
No, it's not Indiana Jones. It's not Star Wars.
Right.
It's not Alien. It's kind of slow, but the acting, the writing, and just the filmmaking, the artistry of the camera work and the lighting and the atmosphere of all of it, it's top fucking notch.
So usually before we do these, I always open up with the mainstream thing from each movie that I know about.
Sure.
I don't know shit about this movie.
Yeah, it didn't do well when it came out in theaters in 82, 83.
Yeah.
It didn't do that well because I think, again, it was probably hyped up as an action movie, and then people got there and they were like, what is this?
What?
But it's one of those films that over the last, like, 30 years, people have realized, like, this is one of the most original movies ever. And then they're realizing that every single science fiction movie ever made after this has been stealing crap from them. Whether it's, like, big screens. The other thing, too, is, like, I think it's a sadly, super accurate vision of human future right now. Like,
yeah, that's probably not a good thing.
It's a dark city. Every advertisements are just on every fucking wall like, imaginable, and people are poor and destitute, and it's like, it's just not a great place to be. You know.
Yeah.
One thing you'll notice, it's not very dated as far as effects, in my opinion. There's a few things maybe. For the most part, it looks really good even now. The one thing that is dated is like the years it uses. They were off.
Is it like 2017?
Yeah, it's like 2019 or something like that.
Flying cars and shit.
Yeah. So that was one thing that's kind of funny. I just kind of ignore that. It's just be the near future, and this could be 100 years from now, probably.
Sweet.
I would say it's just probably like 2100.
I'm excited, man. I love Harrison Ford. I loved when we went back and watched Star Wars, and I know they're not similar, but I was surprised with how much I enjoyed such an old movie.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go.
I would say this is my favorite Harrison Ford movie by far.
Damn. Yeah. By far.
Yeah, and it's got maybe my all-time favorite movie line ever in it too.
Can you tell me what? No.
I could. It wouldn't mean anything. The crazy thing is, it wasn't written in the script. The actor who says it is Roy Batty, who he plays the quote-unquote bad guy, and he says it at the very end, and it's just one of the great lines.
I'll wait till the end.
Yeah. I don't want you to like expect to hear it and wait for it, and then it just lets you down. And you might not even. He might do it. There's just something about it for me. Like I'm jealous when he says it, because it's like I want to write something that fucking good. You know. So,
I'm excited, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. Let's do it, guys.
See you in a fucking flash.
what? I don't know.
I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched sea beams glitter in the dark near the 10-house gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain.
I need you, Dex. This is a bad one. The worst yet. I need the old Blade Runner.
No choice, huh?
No choice, pal.
It seems you feel our work is not a benefit to the public.
Replicants are like any other machine. They're either a benefit or a hazard. If they're a benefit, it's not my problem.
I want more life, Father. It's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does?
I'm feeling really 80s right now. Yeah. Man, how about that music?
I love the music in that movie.
Let's jump right in.
Yeah, man.
Explain the unicorn to me.
Oh, really? You want to go that?
We're not going. Okay, we can.
Hold on. Okay, we will go right there.
Okay.
But I do just want to get your initial reaction, like both like whether it's positive or negative, and then even beyond that, just some of your basic thoughts.
Yeah, no, it's all positive.
Really?
It was really good.
I'm so relieved by that. I wasn't sure if it was gonna.
No, yeah. I mean, it's obviously not a movie where there's parts where you're like, whoa! Like it's just it's
a slow burn.
Yeah,
it's
very,
a slow burn.
Very slow. You were right about that. I'm glad you told me that going in.
Yeah.
Because I would have just been waiting for the big kind of
waiting for it to go. Yeah.
There was none of that. It was a thinker the whole time.
It's the kind of movie like I'll ask you about this in a few days. Like I found myself this first time I hated it But then years later, I came back because I just kept hearing about it. Like, I was so into sci-fi. Like, sci-fi greats, top 10 sci-fi, top 10 sci-fi, top 100. You know what I mean? So I was like, fuck, I gotta watch it again. And like, that was like the first time I watched it. And like, days after, I was like, what the fuck was that about? Like, what was this thing? And like, why did that... You know what I mean? Like, I found myself thinking about that movie a lot more than I do about a lot of it.
Yeah, I think its most redeeming qualities are that you're confused a lot of the time. And I think, like you said, even when you're not watching it, even now I'm like, what's up with the unicorn?
Yeah.
Like, it didn't really make a lot of sense
no,
to
it doesn't.
me, even though there's probably an underlying story there somewhere.
There is. There's multiple.
I want to hear about that. Yeah, the music's awesome.
Yeah,
Harrison Ford's awesome.
I love Harrison Ford.
The other casting
it's my
is
favorite
awesome.
Harrison Ford movie.
Really good. He fits that role really well.
That noir detective?
Yeah, and we talked about it when we were watching the movie, but I love Indiana Jones and Star Wars, but in this movie, he's basically getting his ass kicked the entire time.
I'm a huge fan of that.
He's a badass, but he's not a superhero.
Well,
you know
the film, like, they even call it out in the beginning when the police chief is basically bringing him out of his early retirement to get this job done. He doesn't talk about, oh yeah, I need you to. You're a badass warrior. You're a badass sniper. Yeah. He's like, I need you to find them.
Yeah.
And that's what he's good at. And that's what he finds her with a fucking snake scale. Like, that's how good he is at his job. You know, it's like, I like that the movie appreciates his ability to take on leads, and like him as an investigator, he's really good. But he's not a. How do you fight those guys?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That brings up another question with the snake. The part where he's talking to her, whose name
Zora.
That's
the woman with the stripper.
Yeah. And he asks her if it's a real snake when he's kind of pretending to be like a reporter. And she says, "No, it's not a real snake. I can't afford one."
Right.
That made me wonder what's happening like with animals. Why would a real snake be so expensive?
Well, yeah, and you can kind of infer from how the world looked. That's Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not even any sunlight.
Yeah.
At any point, you know.
Right.
So basically, it's the fact that we've basically driven most animals into extinction.
Oh, right.
And then we started creating them because humans love animals, even though we destroy them at incredible rates. Individually speaking, generally humans are either love them like, oh, cuddly animal, or they're fascinated by them. You know, whether you're a biologist or some dude who's watching Discovery Channel. We like watching snakes eat rat. You know, we're really into nature, generally speaking. So it would make sense we would annihilate them all and then miss them, and so we start
making them.
Creating them
that makes sense.
To make up for that.
I just wonder what.
It's a great question. Yeah.
Can we get into the unicorn thing now?
Yeah, absolutely.
The guy, here's his like driver, if you will, keeps making little.
His name is Gaff. So here's the thing. This is one of my favorite things about this is that, you know, when someone says that's like a fan theory, which means that there might be really great ideas that could come from somewhere very solid, but it's just speculation. Whatever is above that, as far as it does have legitimate facts behind it, but it's still like, it's one of those things where Ridley Scott has always gone, oh yeah, I love the idea of that, and that's definitely something we thought about, was his answer to the fact that that Deckard is a replicant.
So that
he is a replicant.
That's confirmed?
Yes and no, because when they've asked Ridley, there's a lot of really telling stuff in that movie, if you watch it a couple times, that make you think that he is. And then when Ridley Scott's asked, he's like, yeah, I mean, he said that's what the unicorn is there for, and we'll get into that. But basically, Gaff is a human who is basically like, he's like Deckard's handler, if you will. That's why he always knows what Deckard's thinking and shows the audience what Deckard's thinking and shows Deckard what Deckard's thinking through origami. So in the beginning he goes, oh no, I'm retired, I don't want to do this anymore. And he makes a little chicken. And he puts it on the thing. He's like, you're afraid. And he knows what he's thinking because he's like his like replicant handler. And then later on, after he meets Rachel for the first time and is blown away by the fact that he couldn't tell she was a replicant, normally it takes 20 questions with his test.
Yeah.
Took him 100 questions to even guess if she was a replicant. And he was so impressed by that and blown away by that and kind of caught off guard in like a negative way, because when you're getting that close now, you can't tell. It threw him off, and he was attracted to her. And he makes the dude with the little boner.
Yeah. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
In my head, I'm like, that looks like a little guy with a boner. But I was like,
he
there's no way.
Boner. He's like,
no way that's what that is.
Because he's like, I know that you're attracted to her because I know what you're thinking all the time. And then as he's playing piano, drunk as a skunk, and he has a vision of a unicorn, which is basically a symbol for Rachel because she's the first of her kind and the only one of her kind among other horses, replicants.
Yeah.
And he's obsessed with her. There's no way that Gaff would know that he had that vision at all. There's no way.
Yeah.
So there he does. He makes it. He makes the little origami unicorn. He's like, I know you saw the unicorn, and I know you're thinking about Rachel, and I'm going to put that right there because I know you're going to see it. And he does, and he understands that it's Gaff, and he doesn't understand how to deal with that. And we don't get a scene where he starts trying to think about that because then they got to get out of there and they cut the movie off. So the movie's never like Deckard's a replicant. But it's pretty. It also explains why he's so like sexually awkward with her.
Yeah,
and like gets kind of rapey, like
real rapey, like real quick.
And they barely even know each other. It's like if you see those two human people, like how the hell do they love each other? How could they possibly know? And if you look at their relationship, it's like really similar to Roy and Pris's relationship, where they're like you know what I mean? It's like this weird sort of shallow
like
thing
a weird connection
where they're figuring it out, and they don't really know how that works, and he has to like tell her what to say, but he's not really even sure if that's
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that really point to Deckard being a replicant. So replicant built to hunt other replicants.
That's crazy interesting, and in a weird way, it makes me want to watch it again, which I'm assuming is the point of that.
Dude, I caught more stuff. I caught stuff again in this. I've every time I watch that movie, I'm like, oh shit, look at that! Like, there's always something in the background.
I just have two, I guess, questions about that.
Yeah.
One being, why wouldn't he have the like strength or like the agility or the speed of the other guys, or just programmed differently?
Yeah, well that's because they're like the newest model, and they were designed to be physical slave labor in mines on off-world colonies.
Right.
So they weren't even meant to be among other humans, but they escaped.
Right. Yeah, they mentioned that one guy could lift like 400 pounds. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So they wouldn't build Deckard with crazy human strength because he's meant to blend in with other people. So if he pushes someone and they go flying into the street, so he's supposed to blend in, and he's supposed to believe that he's human too. And you're not going to believe that you're human if no other human is feeling, if every other human's feeling pain and you're not. Like, why can I stick my hand into boiling water?
Yeah.
Whereas the Nexus 6, the ones he's hunting...
Yeah, he sticks it into, like, that cryo...
Yeah, the cryo stuff, and then Pris sticks into boiling water. Because they're mining. They need to be, like, they probably got, like, plasma and lasers and shit, and they can't be getting hurt by heat. So it's just it's like a necessity of where they are, which gives them a huge advantage when they get back to Earth, and they've killed, like, 40 people by the time they get back to Earth. Because they're, like, escaped slaves who are killing their masters, basically. And that's when you get into the whole thing about the other part of this movie, which is like, what is it to be human? And like, are they human? Are they not? Like, is their humanity worth less?
Okay.
I love all that. Oh, it's so good. So good.
That's so interesting. Okay, so does he not have the whole 4-year life span thing?
That no, he doesn't. And I'm hoping that the next movie, we'll watch the trailer. The first trailer, not the second one has a little too much story in it, but the first trailer, I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Because what's the guy's name? The main actor in Drive, the movie Drive, or Gosling, right?
Ryan Gosling.
Oh god, it's gonna drive me crazy. He's a Blade Runner in the next movie.
Yeah.
And like they show the whole thing, the trailer, just like they're setting up, just making Blade Runner fans giddy with the city and the music and all that stuff. But near the very end, he has a book with like notes in it you can't quite see, and he slaps it down on a desk up next to an arm, and then the camera goes up and it's Harrison Ford, old Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And Ryan Gosling looks at him and goes, I have some questions for you.
Yeah. So he's gonna give him the
so it's like, yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So I'm really excited for that. Like, I hope they answer that definitively, and he's definitely got to be Replicant. There's just too much.
Too much. With that, yeah. Dude, wow. It's weird because they don't, like, they allude to it in the movie, but they don't really. Like, if you had two people who'd never, two me's in here,
sure,
talking about that,
Oh yeah,
that would never come up.
I've watched it. This is probably like the 9th or 10th time I've watched this movie in the last like 10 years. So not too much. Well, maybe once a year I watch it. But there's a lot of like, it's sort of become an art house film. Like a lot of people who analyze script and analyze art as film as art, and a lot of like film students will pick Blade Runner because there's so much there to pull to pieces. I've watched a ton of stuff about that. Not just like, hey, let's come up with a fan theory about Blade Runner. It's not stuff like that. It's like, no, they're like serious. They're talking about what this movie means and stuff. I love watching. Blade Runner has a whole community of people that just study it and try to understand it because there's so much there. It's something you could teach in like an English, honors English class if it were a book,
Dude.
Which is based on a book.
Yeah, like the...
Do androids have dreams of electric sheep?
Yeah.
It was like the first book ever. It's basically credited with the creation of cyberpunk. And then, of course, Blade Runner is the first thing that's ever visualized that. So that's why it's such a big deal, I guess, like movie-wise. I love all the shots in this movie, too, like outside of the story.
Yeah, we talked about during how, like, in Ridley Scott movies, he uses a lot of, like, natural lighting.
Yeah.
Rather than...
Yeah, environment light. Yeah.
Which is really interesting. Like, when he's in his apartment, there's only ever one scene where he turns a lamp on. Like, the rest of it's just kind of...
Well, and, like, that's the other thing, too, about his vision of Los Angeles, future Los Angeles, is just...
So dark.
So obtrusive. There's always, like, artificial lights flying by the windows.
The blimp. With
searchlights and... It's just this constant, just like flashing going on everywhere. Like no one can rest.
Yeah.
And then even like the most colorful scene in that whole thing is when he's shooting Zora in the back and she's falling through those glasses,
running through
all
the
neon.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, it's
really cool.
So cool. And she's got that like plastic see-through coat that like reflects all the light and her blood going down. It's just oh god. I wish I could make movies like this.
What a crazy movie.
I know it's out there. Like it's I understand people who can't get into it. Like
no, yeah,
it's not like a movie that's like
because I think
everyone's gonna love.
I think 90% of people probably didn't get the "hey, it's slow" talk before they watched it, and you talked about that before. You know what I mean? Which probably caused a huge problem.
I needed that too because it's like called Blade Runner. It sounds like
yeah. And one really interesting thing is like when watching the movie, and not in a negative way. I was here, like okay, I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm paying attention. Talking about it, I'm like up here. Like, I'm more excited now than I was watching the movie.
Yeah, because it grows in your mind.
Yeah, I don't mean that I wasn't excited watching the movie, but like, I was just watching
You're just watching it, and it's just like, it's slow.
Yeah.
And it makes you kind of slow. You're like, okay, I get it. Or, like, you kind of settle into this, and the few pieces of action that are in that are kind of like, oh, wow, there's shit going on all of a sudden.
Talk about the ending.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 20 to 30 minutes is almost a horror movie.
Dude, Roy, the character Roy Batty, man, like... Rutger Hauer is his whole monologue at the end on the roof just makes me gives me shivers, dude.
So good.
Oh,
and right before he just dies,
like tears in rain, man.
Dude.
It's like that's the line I was telling you about, that whole part where he's like, life living. What is it like?
I don't remember. Exactly
life living in fear, like quite an experience living in fear, whatever it is. Like it's the life of a slave.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When he picks him up off the thing. Yeah. Dude.
And then all these talks to him about all these things, crazy things he's seen in space. Attack ships being blown up and like all this crazy stuff he's seen. And then that fucking line, man. All these moments.
Before that, though,
lost in time, like tears and rain.
Serial killer, like he's running around, like he's like howling for no reason.
Well, he's scaring. He knows that Deckard is afraid of him. So and plus they're all losing their mind. Even at the very beginning when that guy is doing the Volk or whatever the name of it. The test on Leon, and like he asks him about the turtle. He's all irritable and like they're all losing their mind.
Is that just because of the like 4-year
thing? And that's the thing, like they're putting these droids out there before they've really even tested what happens. Like they're just like go get them out to the mines, like and we hear talk between Tyrell, the creator of all of these androids, and Roy about the fact that they tried to make them last longer, but no matter what they did, they would like accidentally create viruses that would kill other androids, because they're still like biological beings that they've created, and it's clearly he didn't even know that they would do this, that they would lose their mind like this. Like not only do their bodies break down, but so does their brain. They go insane, like just like a human might.
One other question I had at the beginning of the movie, it kind of gives you like the scrolling, you know, and tells you about it, and it says that like the possession of a replicant is illegal now.
Yep.
Are they still making them?
Yeah, I think they're still making them for the
mining?
off-world. Yeah, for like different, for like slave labor or whatever. But like they probably, I'm assuming they had some kind of like iRobot fiasco. I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Yeah,
Will Smith.
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell. Will Smith. That's a very different movie with Will Ferrell.
It would have.
I'm assuming it's something like that though that happened where they were like, okay, no more of these.
Right.
You know, we can't have these guys.
Yeah, I mean they have a whole like police division dedicated
to hunting them down
and
to retiring them.
And that brings up another question: what about the chief who knew? I mean the main character and talked to him like, hey, we need your experience, we need your blah blah. Is he in on the entire thing?
I have no clue. I don't know. And there's some inconsistencies there too, where he tells them there's 4, and later he tells them there's 6. And you still have a few left, and then once they kill Roy, it's like, okay, you're done. You've killed them all. So there's something going on there.
Yeah.
Where like, why would they change the number on him, and why doesn't he catch it? You know, like, there's so many things.
I'm like here. That's what I'm saying. It's like what? Like we need to go watch.
This movie's like a little seed that gets planted, and then it buries, and then like
I'm not gonna sleep
only
tonight.
time waters that little
I'm not
seed.
Gonna sleep tonight. Babe, he might be a replicant, okay?
I think he's I'm pretty sure.
I can't sleep. I'm pretty sure. Ian told me there was a fan theory, but it's not a fan theory.
Now, if he is a replicant, he's in this newer movie, and he's older.
He's older.
So clearly they
older.
did develop a replicant that can live a long time.
So is he a newer model?
Or he's just he could be like a Master Chief. You know, he's like the only one that worked out that way. You know what I mean?
Something
like,
happened
inside he's just a special one. Who knows? I don't know the answer to that. I'm hoping. That's why I was so excited when I found out that. And the greatest thing about the next one coming out, it's produced by Ridley Scott, so he is directly involved with how this movie's getting made. And it's directed by Felix Villanueva, who did... he's done a bunch of movies. He did The Arrival. I don't know if you ever saw that.
No.
That came out a little while ago. What's the other, like, one of my favorite movies? We just watched it not too long ago. Where is...
We did?
Yeah, we've seen it. Do you have your phone?
Yeah.
All right, I'll cut some of this out.
Yeah.
Because I'll start editing right after this. But I just wanted
What's his name?
Felix Villanueva. He should pop up. He's the director. There we go. He did Sicario, which I don't think you've seen yet, which was fucking amazing. I thought there was a movie of his that we saw. Or just put director. It should come up.
Yeah. They brought up some LinkedIn.
LinkedIn stuff.
Director.
What the heck?
Some like police director.
Weird. All right, hold up now. We'll just stop this. Okay, we'll just put. Dennis, not Felix. That's what I was thinking that.
Like it says he's a police chief in Brazil.
That's him!
That's the one!
So he did... Alright, so I'll put it in here. So let's do 3, 2, 1. Okay, Dennis Villanueva did Arrivals. Maybe we can just go over... He did Prisoners, which I've not seen. Sicario he did. Prisoners, which that's one that Kevin really likes.
Next 4.
So you haven't seen... So you didn't see Sicario, huh?
No.
Shit. We have to... You've got to see that. And Arrival. Fuck, they're both so good.
Yeah.
They're both so good. So yeah, so anyway, he's an incredible director. I'll show you those if we have time, even if we don't do Mason Misfits, or maybe we can if we get some time. Maybe we can do some of his movies next.
Yeah.
Prepare for that movie.
Absolutely.
They're incredible. So yeah, Sicario is like one of my favorite movies. And Arrival was good. And Prisoner I haven't seen. And Kevin fucking loves that movie, so we need to check that out at some point too. Anyway, so he's going to be directing the next one, and Ridley Scott's right there along with him, producing it, because that guy just doesn't sleep. Just makes movie after movie after movie after show after show after. He's like,
are you
producing all kinds of stuff.
Ryan Gosling fan?
I haven't seen him in anything. So I haven't seen Drive. which everyone's like, dude, you have to see that movie. I heard it's great. But I haven't. I don't dislike him or love him. I haven't seen enough of him.
That's probably a good thing.
So he looks perfect in this movie. Like the things that I've seen him in, he's really good. Yeah. So, and I'm so glad they brought Harrison Ford back. It's like a legit. It's not a reboot, which would really piss me off because you're not going to make that again.
Right?
You know?
No, yeah.
So, because it's got that 80s feel is a big part of the feel of that movie. You could never recreate that.
Do you know, like, how long after the new one is coming out?
Well, I'm assuming it's called 2049.
That's what I was wondering. Is that
so? That one's the first one's 2019. So there's your. I think it is that much.
2 years away.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what it's gonna look like. All the animals will be dead. There'll be fucking replicants running around.
Robot strippers and neon.
But at the same time, like looking at a lot of stuff, it's not impossible to imagine that at some point.
Yeah,
relatively.
Not 2 years from now, but yeah.
No, probably not within our lifetime, but close.
It is an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that's the movie, man.
That's the movie, man.
Any other thoughts? At all?
I know you got to get going, so we can wrap her up. But I mean, obviously, thanks for showing me that.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we got to watch that.
I'm sure I'll text you more fucking questions at one point.
Yeah,
dude,
we have some time. I want to show you something before you go because we do have some time.
Cool.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully, you've seen the movie. If you have. Get down in those comments. I'd love to talk to you about it.
Or go watch it.
Well, if you haven't seen it, you probably shouldn't have. There's a lot of spoilers.
Yeah, a lot of spoilers. Yeah, you shouldn't be watching this. Go ahead and...
But, if you were not a fan of it, we can definitely talk about that. Or what do you love about the movie? The usual stuff. We're always down to have a conversation. So we will catch you guys on the next Mason Missed It.
Later.
Later.